Good evening, Patriots, and welcome back to Red, Rights, and You. I'm your host, Tim Andrews, and we will be joined shortly by my trusted co-host, Mark Mosgrove. Now, let's paint a picture. It all started with an alleged weird event. It occurred nearly 9 years ago on November 10, 2016, when the Obamas hosted incoming President Donald J. Trump for a brief meeting in the White House. As Trump was finishing a guided tour of his new home, Michelle had decided to slip away and change into something a bit more casual. Being that she was in a hurry, she grabbed and quickly put on a pair of Barack's jeans that were laying nearby. People still talk about the strange occurrence that followed. The future president and Michelle simultaneously shouted, "Why is there no ballroom?" And the rest is history. Now, while Michelle's issue was never resolved, the White House has been in the news recently due to the construction and renovation that President Trump has started on a new, elegant ballroom. And we figured, in the spirit of the season and in lieu of these recent events, now would be a great time to trade in our political pundit hats for ghost hunting helmets, because we're stepping inside the most haunted house in America. No, we're not talking about Congress, although that's a close second. We'll be talking about 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Now, most think the White House is just marble, history, and malfunctioning microphones, but for more than 2 centuries, presidents, residents, staff, and visitors alike have reported eerie encounters that'll make your hair stand up faster than inflation under the Biden administration. You will discover that the White House isn't just full of politics. It's also apparently packed with poltergeists. Now, here are some of the most famous haunted White House stories. And some of these might be a load of bullshit, but then again, it is Washington, D.C., so it's par for the course. Now, here to help me navigate through this haunted history, summoned by a Ouija board, tuned to AM talk radio, is my co-host, the one and the only, Mark Mosgrove. Mark, the White House might just be the only building where dead presidents and former residents still work overtime. Let's start with quite possibly the most fascinating figure of all, Dolly Madison. Now, besides her bakery being partially responsible for my massive girth, she is known primarily as the Rose Garden Ghost Host. Recent renovations by President Trump must have her fighting mad, because Dolly is known to have protected her rose garden so fiercely that even her ghost wouldn't let you mess with it. She defined the position of First Lady, and before her husband James Madison became president, she was the de facto First Lady for Thomas Jefferson, who was a widower. She took on many of the duties associated with that position, and for James' sake, hopefully not all of them. But legend has it, when gardeners tried to move her precious rose bushes, they swore they saw her ghostly figure waving her finger like, "Oh, no, you don't." Needless to say, the roses stayed right where she wanted them. She was a fierce lady and even saved George Washington's portrait when the British set fire to the White House during the War of 1812. She had the bright idea of breaking the frame before taking the portrait out and rolling it up so she could hustle it out of the burning structure. She also sponsored the first inaugural ball. Now, just a thought, maybe to get back on her good side and avoid an eternal haunting for what he did to her sacred rose garden, President Trump may want to name the new ballroom they're building after her.
That's a great idea, Tim, but It's 2025, so you know there's gonna be some sort of, sponsorship, like the Dolly Madison Ballroom presented by Walmart.
That wouldn't surprise me, although it is better than the Monica Lewinsky ballroom, right? Or would that be the Oval Office?
Oval Office.
Mark, the most famous ghost that ever haunted the White House. Who would you say that was?
Probably Abraham Lincoln, because 'cause I've heard about him being being seen by multiple people.
Obviously, my first choice would be our nation's favorite president, Jimmy Carter.
Oh.
Of course, I jest. However, with his recent passing, don't be surprised to hear accounts of the smell of peanut butter and stale Billy beer wafting through the residence.
Billy Beer, I remember Billy Beer.
Good old Billy beer.
Billy didn't live too long, probably because he had too much beer.
The breakfast of champions, my friend.
And then Jimmy taught Sunday school, and he lived to be like 180 years old, so
Let that be a lesson to all you Billy beer drinkers out there.
there you go.
But of course, we are talking about Abraham Lincoln. And Honest Abe reportedly roams the Lincoln bedroom, appearing during national crises, probably because he just saw the debt clock. But even Winston Churchill claimed to have seen him. Churchill said he was stepping out of a bath, cigar in hand, towel on, when he spotted Lincoln standing by the fireplace. Now, he supposedly said, "Good evening, Mr. President." Lincoln nodded and vanished.
I'm kind of wondering what Abraham Lincoln was wearing when Winston Churchill saw him, because if it was in Lincoln's bedroom, was he in his PJs? Think about it.
Probably the only haunting that smelled like tobacco and awkward diplomacy at that time.
Well, it'd be really weird if Winston Churchill had his clothes off because he was going to go take a shower or a bath, and the ghost of Abraham Lincoln was doing the same thing, and then they run into each other in the bathroom
Yikes.
naked. That would be scary.
A sword fight in the Lincoln bedroom.
Oof.
What is it about cigars and scary White House stories?
I don't know.
The world may never know.
Yeah.
But there have been more sightings of Honest Abe Specter by more people than any other. Even Ronald Reagan's dog would stand outside the door of the Lincoln bedroom and bark. But it's not just presidents. Other first ladies have made their supernatural mark on America's house as well. Abigail Adams used to hang her laundry in the East Room, and staff still report smelling lavender and soap when they pass through. Even in the afterlife, she's still folding sheets. Now, Mark, that's commitment.
That makes for a good wife.
While we have no evidence that Mary Todd Lincoln's ghost has made an appearance to date, she is certainly no stranger to the woo. Her son Willie died tragically from typhoid fever at the tender age of 11 in the White House in 1862. And shortly after his passing, she gathered a group to participate in a seance at the White House in an attempt to communicate with him. Imagine being one of the staffers. How does one say no to that? Awkward?
Very much so. But
Yeah.
you wouldn't have any choice, would you?
You wouldn't. But an interesting side note, Mark and I are attempting to book Mrs. Lincoln for a future show. We'll let you know just as soon as we hear something from her.
Well, she's asking us to contact her agent, and that's just inconvenient. We're not that sophisticated yet. We don't have his phone number.
What was a telegraph? Wasn't it dots and dashes that we got in order to contact her agent?
Oh,
I don't remember.
I know Morse code. We could do Morse code. We could. Yeah.
Some of the
Go
other
ahead.
strange events, we have a picture up here of a British soldier from the War of 1812 who roams the White House grounds. You can see by the pantyhose that the soldier is wearing that they fit right in with today's liberal Washington crowd. And Thomas Jefferson, he's been seen playing his piano in the Yellow Oval Room. Now, this is a strange story. During Teddy Roosevelt's time, staff members claimed to see a ghostly boy they called the Thing. He was pale, around 14, and had sad eyes. Wouldn't any of us have sad eyes if people called us the Thing, Mark?
Yeah, that's pretty crappy. It probably was the Lincoln's son because good old Mary Todd had to do the seance to bring Willie back to life into the White House, and then she left him there. What kind of mom is that?
Even Roosevelt admitted hearing about him, although no one ever figured out who he was, and maybe he was just a ghost waiting for a state dinner invite.
Yeah.
And then there's Andrew Jackson, whose ghostly laugh echoes through the Rose Room. Now, this one goes back to the 1860s. And the Princess of Spirit Hunters, again, Mary Todd Lincoln, swore she heard him cackling. Personally, I think he's probably laughing at modern Congress. Mark, if you had to pick which past president would you actually room with as a ghost, and which one do you think you would evict by sunrise?
The obvious choice is Abraham Lincoln because you would just want to talk to him and pick his brain because he was such a brilliant man. But a good second would be maybe Thomas Jefferson. Not necessarily that he's my favorite president, but he was such a Renaissance man. He wrote the Declaration of Independence. He was an architect, an inventor, scientist. He basically was a jack of all trades, and it would really be interesting to pick his brain. And he probably would be a great conversation because of all the presidents, he probably would be the most interested in finding out about what our technology is like now. That's my thinking because he's he's a brilliant person who just happened to be president, if I remember right, because I visited his gravesite at it's either Monticello or Monticello. He didn't put President of the United States on his gravestone. He put that he wrote the Declaration of Independence and a couple other things on there, but he did not want President of the United States on his gravestone. True story.
Are there any you think would have you running for the exits by morning?
Andrew Jackson, he was a pretty rough dude. He drank all the time, and he'd probably be a bad influence. He'd keep me up all night, and he probably would keep offering me drinks, and I probably would take them, and then I wouldn't get any work done. The other one would be, I hate to say it, but Joe Biden, because I don't know if we could even have a conversation, sadly.
It's hard enough to put up with somebody snoring through the night, but could you imagine somebody cackling through the night? Hey, could you keep it down over there? Some of us are trying to sleep, right?
I tell that to my wife all the time.
Does she cackle in her sleep, Mark?
No comment. I'm so in trouble now.
Well, let's change things up and take a haunted stroll through the halls of power in the East Room. Now, visitors have reported ghostly figures in 19th century clothes. Some say they're even seeing more Civil War spirits, and others say it's just the interns reading the latest inflation report.
Oh.
Now, down in the basement, people hear papers shuffling on their own, which, let's be honest, might just be executive orders signing themselves in the auto pen room. But Mark, if you were a ghost wandering those halls, which room would you haunt first? The Oval Office, the Situation Room, or the press briefing room, just to scare the nonsense out of it?
Well, to be honest, you would want to be in the Oval Office because that's where all the action goes. But I've always been really interested in when the president and his family goes up to their private quarters. How's it like up there? I mean, are they watching TV? Are they eating popcorn? Do they have people coming in waiting on them hand and foot? So I'd kind of like to do a sleepover in the private quarters. You know, I'll sleep on the couch or I'll sleep on the floor with a sleeping bag, but I'd like to see how it's like to actually have it be your house. So I gave you a different answer than what you
That might have been a lot of
asked
fun
me.
during the Kennedy administration, you think?
Well, there you go. And
Just think of all the
yeah,
celebrities you'd have probably run into up there.
that's true. Poor old Maryland.
Now, let's have some fun and summon the ghosts of administrations yet to come. First up, Bill Clinton, terrorizing interns as his naked spirit drifts through the Blue Room, playing with his two favorite instruments, the saxophone and his organ. That's right. He can be seen night after night handing Abigail Adams a blue dress and a laundry ticket.
You didn't go there, did you?
And those walking past the kitchen may notice the lights dimming and a donut box opening by itself. They will know, Mark, the philanderer in chief is back. Next, Joe Biden. He wanders down the corridors whispering, "Come on, man," as he rifles through restroom after restroom, opening creaking stall doors in search of the resolute desk. You may spot him taking quick naps mid-haunt with an ice cream cone melting in his hand. And if you feel an eerie presence shamelessly sniffing your hair, it's just good old Joe in search of a face-off with another lying dog-faced pony soldier. And finally, the one ghost that would still campaign from beyond, Donald J. Trump. The chandeliers and the solid gold accents sparkle brighter. Even the portraits straighten up as he floats by. The more you think about it, the White House isn't just haunted by ghosts. It's haunted by history itself. Every decision, every scandal, every temporary spending bill leaves a little ectoplasm behind. And if you could bring back one founding father as a ghostly consultant, who would it be? And what would they say about today's politics?
Probably George Washington, because, I mean, he kind of was like Jefferson, too. He was a surveyor. He had a working farm. Unfortunately, it was a plantation, but he also was a military general. He also was a politician. So I'd probably say George Washington.
An imposing figure at that time, too.
And his farewell address, he gave, I think, like 4 warnings of what not to do. And we've done all 4 of them. He said, avoid political parties. Political parties are bad.
And look at where we're at now.
Yeah. Look at where we're at.
Maybe the real haunting, Mark, isn't the ghost. It's the unfinished work of keeping this republic alive. Every leader leaves behind an echo. Some are noble. Some are still writing executive orders at midnight. But through it all, ladies and gentlemen, the spirit of freedom endures.
Amen.
And spirit, you can all celebrate yours with our Freedom and Faith collection at www.redwritesyou.com. We've got mugs, teas, and caps that'll make even your ghostly ancestors proud. Perfect for morning coffee or midnight ghost hunts. And from all of us here at Red Writes and You, have a safe, spooky, and patriotic Halloween. May your ghosts be friendly, your coffee strong, and your freedom eternal. Good night, America. Stay the course. Stay strong. Stay patriotic. And remember, even the ghosts stand for the flag. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.